Welcome back. This is Flat Tank Journey. Another little episode on my 250 1925 round tank. What am I up to? Well, you saw the paint and that's gone really well. Now the bit I don't like about bikes is the engine. I know a little bit, but not enough to do anything meaningful. On this bike, for some unknown reason, I've decided that I'd like to have a go at this myself. So I've been working on the barrel and the valves, and it's kind of going okay, and it's kind of just way past my point of comfort. So I'm a little bit in front of you right now as I record this opening. So you watch the next bit and catch up to where I'm at, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little bit more work, and I'll tell you what I'm worried about. Boy, I'm nervous this morning. I was so nervous I wasn't even going to show you this, but I've picked a couple of valves. Now, they both fit, I don't know, really well into the seats, I suppose, aren't they? And I'm aware that I need to lap them in. Well, I think that's the expression people use. So I bought some valve grinding and lapping compound from the JB Weld company. And I'm going to try it. I figure I don't have a terrible lot to lose. I don't know how you do it. Sure. Oh, it feels really gritty. Feels really gritty. I've chosen to wipe it on the valve so that feels easier. And then I'm going to drop it down the hole because that seems like what you do. Now, in the top of my valves, there's a slot for a screwdriver, I assume, or some sort of lapping tool. Now, immediately I started turning, it felt really gritty. And then it stopped feeling gritty. I'm going to have to get a cloth. I'll get a clean cloth from down at the wood lathe. Bear with me for a second, talk amongst yourselves or whatever people do when they're watching. I have a tendency to talk to myself a lot. Well, I'm doing that now, kind of. So, I'll just wipe that off. And I can see the ridge it's grinding on. What can I see inside? Now, the valves are a fair way into the seat. What does that mean? And I can see a shiny patch appearing onto the seat. Now, the people I've seen do this, I've never seen them grind the valves, but I have seen them use a bluing compound. And the bluing, they put the bluing on, I don't know, the seat or the valve, or both. No, one. So that, hear that gritty noise? So that when it's pressed against the other, you can see where it's not making contact. And then all of a sudden, this goes smooth. And you feel like you're only pressing metal against metal. Am I doing it right? Don't really know what I'm doing. However, I can see a shiny edge. Well, shinier edge. I wouldn't say it was shiny, as in bright, but I would say that it's brighter than it was. But it's right up on the top lip of the valve. Is that good or bad? Don't know. I might actually have to wait for you people to reply before I go too far with this. Anyway, and it's seated towards the bottom of the seat. And I don't know whether that's right or not. Anyway, I'm going to press on and do these, and then I'm going to bring you back and you can have a look in, and then maybe I'll wait and we can decide, or I might consult a professional. I'm not really sure at this stage. Trying to give you the best view of this I can. Here's the seats, and there's the edge of the valve. Now, the edge of the valve's quite sharp now, and when I put it in, I think there might be a tiny bit of grit down the valve's guide, but not anything substantial. You can see it's sitting quite low, but it's seated quite well. I need to get some bluing compound, I think. Now, in this side, everything's good too. So, I suppose what I'm asking is that it? Is that what it does? I have done that about half a dozen times, and I don't have any pitting or marks or gouges or anything like that in there. What do you think? So the valves are back in, and everything feels okay. And maybe there's a tiny bit of grit left, but I'm not losing a lot of sleep over that. I think, so that's the compound I used. And I think I better go and try and find some bluing compound and see if I can get that to show me whether I've got a consistent seal all the way around. So the valves are in and they're lapped, but that's not quite enough. I'm concerned that they're different lengths. I'm concerned that one holds a pin and one holds a wedge. This tells me that these are not necessarily the valves that came out of the engine, and that they're two different valves, possibly from a round tank or a 250. And whether or not I can make all this work, I really don't know. So I'm going to push on a little bit, and I'm going to open a tube of non-drying Prussian blue, Prussian blue. Now this is a compound used when you've lapped valves, or this is how I understand it, and you want to see if the valve is seating properly. And you put blue on one side, push it in, and see if the blue smears all the way around. Now, because I've never done this, I don't know whether you smear the blue on the valve and look for that to smear on the seat, or the other way around. How much of it do you put on? Don't know. Where do you put it? Don't know. So I got a lot of I don't knows, and that's no use to you, but these are my fears. So what am I doing? I've smeared the tiniest bit around the valve, and I'm sort of making it thin under the notion that, and you can see it on my finger, it's blue. And there's the valve. This is almost impossible for me to video, but it comes off really blue on the cloth. So we should be able to, awkward bugger to handle, is drop it down. Now this is the exhaust valve. In theory, I should be able to drop it down there and let it kiss. And I assume you just give it the tiniest wiggle. I mean tiny, you know, couple of degrees to see where is the blue on the seat. And at this stage, I can see patches that are not blue. I suppose that tells me that the valve isn't seating properly all the way around. Does that sound logical? That the valve isn't seating just perfectly. Let me get a screwdriver and then we'll have one more go. Okay, I've picked up a little screwdriver because there's a slot in the head. And I'm going to give it a quarter turn each way. We'll see if that makes a difference. Now this is quite difficult to see. I have a torch for my head. I got this from a friend who got it from another friend, and we call this the Richard torch because it came from a guy named Richard. So Richard, I don't imagine you're ever watching this, but this is one of the greatest gifts that you ever gave anyone, because you can look down on things with a torch on your head. That's difficult, but in reality, now I have blue all the way around. Sorry about the glare into the camera, that's annoying, isn't it? Let me adjust that, see which way it turns. Oh no, it does turn that way. So it's got a tilt action to it, the camera. It's a oh yeah, that's better. All right, so that made a huge difference. That made a massive difference. So I don't know whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. This is the problem I've got. I don't know whether that's enough seat, that when I gave that, 60, 70 degrees of turn, that smeared the blue everywhere. Or whether you're just supposed to drop the valve in and it's enough. So I'm probably going to leave this video and let this video go so that you can tell me whether I'm wrong. I reckon that needs another lap. Just, I don't know. I actually don't know. All right, a bit more Prussian blue on the other side. Now that tube's likely to last beyond my lifetime. So if anybody's at the clearing sale when I die, grab the tube of Prussian blue, will you? Rightio. Done the same thing. And I'm going to drop it in. And what am I going to turn it? So I turned it 30 degrees. Pull it out. Have a look. I got blue everywhere. I got blue everywhere. And I've smeared a clean ring. I can see a clear ring on here and a clear ring on there. I'm going to call it good until you tell me I'm wrong. I think it's okay. I might give the other one just a little more, a relap the exhaust valve. I don't need either of them to be leaking. I get a sense that these are relatively gutless motors. So I think that there's probably a bit of, there's probably a bit of bit of bottom end, there wouldn't be much top end. And if you're my size, well, you probably shouldn't be riding that at all. As one of my mates said, every time I see you on a little bike, he said, I imagine circus music in the background with a pipe organ going. He's got a big sense of humour, and so have I. So there we go. I'll do that exhaust valve again. And I'm giving that a good flick around until it changes. And you feel the grit, and then it's like the grit's gone. It's really weird. And now the grit's gone. You can feel you're just smooth. So that's what I've done, and that feels okay. I'll try the Prussian blue again in a second, and then we'll move on and see if I can allay some of my fears. So I'm going to give that a clean. Off camera, I'm giving that a little bit of a hit with workshop degreaser. Try and get the grit off it. And then grit out of the seat. And we go from there. So please don't follow my instructions as the way you do it, because I don't know enough to be dangerous. Here's the non-drying, I suppose it's a dye, Prussian blue, and we're smearing it on the valve, and we're cleaning our fingers. Drop it down. Beautiful. So that's, let's call that 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And I can see blue everywhere. I'm going to call it good. Again, until you tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to call it good. It's sitting at the top edge of the valve, not all the way down the valve. That concerns me, and I actually imagine that this engine may need reseated and may need different valves. But, you know, we'll go with that when we get there. We'll let that see what happens. Right, give that valve a little clean up. I don't know what the Prussian blue does, but it's probably not good for you. Somewhere it probably says don't get it on your hands. Right. Now in my mind, I've lapped those valves. In my mind. Well, I have lapped them, but whether or not they work, well, that's a different story. There we go. They don't look too bad. And the Richard torch is a ripper. So if you ever see these things in, I don't know, we call them junk shops, grab one. Handiest thing ever. And it does a few things. It's, I don't know, it's got several settings, but I only use it on the one setting. Ripping little torch. There you go. All right, let's move on to the next problem. I've never owned one of these before, and I don't know how to use it. It's a valve compressor. Now have a look at the size of the thing. It's huge. I bought one this morning, and I didn't want to, but I decided I had to, because if this was going to work, I needed the right tool for the job, and I assumed this is the right tool for the job. So sadly, it was 90 bucks. And I didn't want to own one, but I didn't feel as though I had any choices left. You can't keep borrowing stuff and expecting your engine builder to let you build an engine with his tools. So I didn't. Anyway, $90 is what it cost. I bought it at my local super cheap autos, we call it. In Australia, you'll have something else wherever you are. I'm sure everyone's got one of those budget-friendly joints. Weirdly, there was another known brand store in the same complex. So I went over to have a look there, and theirs was $195. So it was over $100 dearer. I was really shocked. So I've just put a little bit of grease on the valve because I think I should, which is kind of weird, isn't it? Then, and let's hope, you actually end up seeing this. So I've got a valve, I've got a spring and a cap that I suppose is a retaining cap from the BSA. And then my understanding is all that goes over like that. And then I've got a little pin that I measured for the hole, and that's about a 2 mil. It's actually a nail. It's what I've got for now. I don't think it's a super solution, but I'm going to try, first time, to compress this valve and insert that nail without any prior experience. And that is hard. That is really hard. But it kind of works. And in goes the pin. And the pin's just gone too far, so let me try and push the pin back till it clips in. Oh my God, the pin has gone in. My God, it actually worked. Maybe it was worth the $90. And I had no idea, and I did no adjustment, and I don't know what I'm doing. Holy fish balls, Batman. Might bring it in. You can have a look at this and understand what's happening, because I'm trying to understand it at the same time. Come on, have a look, eh? Bit excited now. This valve spring, and here's the clippy bit in the bottom. You can see that little line. I believe that's where the wedge or the pin goes. On this one, there's a pin. Now, I'm all wonky. I hope I haven't made you seasick. But there's the pin. Now, the pin sits down in a recess. So, in theory, the pin can never come out. That's where it's going to be. The other one, the other valve, which is eluding me, has a long wedge. Don't know why. Believe I need to cut myself a wedge that slides in there, that sits in that slot. I imagine people bodge together all sorts of outcomes to get what they were using to work. I've been gone for a little while, not too long I suppose, basking in the glory of my first success. Well, not really. Anyway, I needed to make a wedgie looking thing for this other valve. And I have. I've slightly missed the mark on the width of it. It slides in really well. It's just ever so slightly loose. Should it be loose? Should it be firm? Don't know. I'm going to use it because someone's going to tell me. It slides well into the retaining cap, and it was made out of scrap. Well, not scrap. I had some leftover. I'm going to say that's about 2 mil by 12 mil. I cut it in half, so I've got about 12 mil. Yeah, about 6 mil. and then I had to put it on the belt sander and just shave a hair off it. So that's under 2 mil, and so is that now. Right. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I don't have assembly lube or oil that I think I can use. So I'm just using grease. And I'm hoping that just lets the valve go in. Oh, yeah, and the valve feels really good. There's really no sideways then with the grease. And my understanding is you need to have a little bit. Right, so that cap goes on, then the valve goes over, and there's a whole, there's a retainer at the top as well. Now this one doesn't want to sit quite as well, mainly because I think one valve is a hair longer than the other. So the top bit goes in there, and that bit goes in there. Then there seems to be a sweet spot where you can roll it over. It gets harder and harder until it finally gets easier. And it's there. And everything's slipping, and I'm not going to get it in the one go. Damn. Want to go 2 for 2. My understanding is that it'll go past the point and it'll grab. I might adjust this a bit and see if I can get this to work exactly how it should, because I think it has a pivot point where it locks down, I think. I just screw down on the valve, so I pulled the top cap too far out. And the valve could move. You really need a third hand or a very strong crutch. Nope, haven't got that correct. At some point, it locks down. At some point. My enthusiasm with the first valve is dissipated somewhat. Oh, there we go. Now that's how I thought it should work. Now you can go hands-free. So the first time I was possibly working on unbridled youth and enthusiasm. And the second time, just the same. So 4 goes in, I've worked out, adjust this down to the top of the valve, leaving a little gap. And then I've pulled this away so that I can get to that lock point, and it exposed the valve. Kind of makes sense. So both sides are adjustable, in and out. So this one to the top of the valve, and that clears the head. And then this one, I just wound it all the way back. Again, there's 2 sides to it. You could adjust it for different size retainer clips and all sorts of things. That seemed to work really well. Glad you were watching in the end. Nearly turned you off. So it's not quite sitting inside the retaining clip, but if I give that a little spin and that I push, it's inside the retaining clip and it's in that little notch that was in the retaining clip. Oh, I'm super excited. I still have no idea whether they're the right valves. Oh dear. But that's exciting for me. That's the first time I've ever fitted valves. The compressor, fabulous. Could just put the packaging back on and take it back, but that'd be really dishonest. Come and have a look. Now I'm pretty pleased with that. So it's the exhaust valve, this one, that's slightly longer than the inlet valve. But when I tip it up, you can see the one on the right has the nail through it, and the one on the left has a big wedge through it. They're both held inside this retaining cap in slots. In theory, you're only ever pushing the valve up. You're never pushing the retainer up, so the clip and the nail cannot come out. They're the pressure point. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that, and I'm going to call that the end of this episode. I don't know how much footage I've got. Could be long, could be short. I'm really pleased if you were here. I'm really pleased if you learnt something with me or from me, or what not to do or what to do. That was a pretty good exercise for me, and I'm pretty pleased with myself. Hey, 674 people are subscribers to the channel. Gee, that's tremendous. And since I've been having a go at the round tank, about 15 maybe, 20 have joined the crew. And I'm really pleased. So if you're not subscribed, think about hitting the subscribe button. You got no idea how fulfilling it is that someone chooses to subscribe to you. So that's pretty cool. There you go. I have given those plugs a skim in the lathe and a polish. They're well beaten. They've been really beaten up to get out. So they've got more scratches and dents in them than they should have. But you know what? They're what I've got. I'm going to call that a success and let you tell me if you think I'm within the margin of what might work, or whether you think, oh, Quinny, you're so far off the mark, it's not funny. That's not going to work, and here's why. Why don't you chase this down and see if that works? In the meantime, cheers. Have a good one.